Look around your kitchen for a second. There's probably chicken in the fridge, maybe some ground beef in the freezer, bacon, eggs, lamb on the menu at your favorite restaurant down the road. Now try to remember the last time you saw lion on a menu, or wolf, or eagle, or tiger. You can't, because it's never happened. Humans have eaten almost every plant-eating animal on Earth at some point in history. Cows, pigs, goats, sheep, deer, rabbits, chickens by the billions. But predators? Almost never. Not as a regular food, not as an industry, not anywhere. And here's the strange part. Every culture on every continent landed on the exact same rule without ever speaking to each other. Eat the grazer, leave the hunter alone. That's a very strange coincidence when you stop and think about it. Because a cow and a wolf are both just meat, muscle, fat, protein, both edible in theory. So why did one become dinner for the entire planet and the other basically never did? The answer isn't one thing. It's 5 things stacked on top of each other, all pointing the same direction. And the first one is pure arithmetic. In 1942, a young ecologist named Raymond Lindemann published a paper about a small lake in Minnesota. He died that same year at just 26. But his work became the foundation of something scientists now call the 10% rule. Every time energy moves up a food chain, only about 10% of it survives the climb. The other 90% is burned off, lost as body heat, spent chasing food, wasted in digestion. So picture a field of grass holding 100 pounds of energy. That grass supports maybe 10 pounds of deer. Those deer support about 1 pound of wolf. 1 pound. To grow a single pound of predator, you need 10 pounds of prey underneath it, and 100 pounds of plants underneath that. Predator meat isn't just rare. It's the single most expensive meat that biology is capable of producing. Raising 1 cow to slaughter weight already takes years of land, grain, and water that most people never think about. Raising a lion big enough to eat would mean raising and losing 10 times that amount of prey just to keep one animal alive. No civilization in human history has ever had that kind of surplus to burn. The energy simply isn't there to waste. But even if the math worked, there's a second problem. And this one is already inside the meat. It's called biomagnification. And it's simpler than the word suggests. Toxins in the environment don't disappear as they move up a food chain. They pile up. A small fish absorbs a trace of mercury from the water. A bigger fish eats hundreds of those small fish and absorbs all of it at once. A shark eats hundreds of those bigger fish and absorbs more still. By the time you reach the top, you're looking at an animal that has spent its entire life quietly storing everybody else's poison. That's the actual reason health authorities tell pregnant women to skip certain fish. The current US advice names: shark, swordfish, king mackerel, big-eye tuna, marlin, orange roughy, and Gulf tilefish. Not because those fish are unhealthy by nature, because they sit at the top of a chain that's been collecting toxins for years. And the same pattern nearly erased the bald eagle from America. The pesticide DDT washed into rivers. Algae absorbed it. Fish concentrated it. Eagles that ate those fish were poisoned in turn, and the chemical interfered with their ability to produce strong eggshells. So the eggs broke during incubation or simply failed to hatch. By 1963, only 417 nesting pairs of bald eagles were known to exist in the lower 48 states. DDT was banned in 1972, and today there are more than 70,000 nesting pairs. That is what a lifetime at the top of a food chain does to a living body. And this isn't a modern discovery. Arctic peoples have avoided polar bear liver for generations. Europeans learned it the hard way as far back as 1597. A Dutch expedition wintering on Novaya Zemlya fell gravely ill after eating it. Then came the most famous case of all. During the Australasian Antarctic Expedition of 1911 to 1914, Douglas Mawson and Xavier Mertz lost most of their food supplies down a crevasse and were forced to eat their own sled dogs, including the livers. Mertz died. Only Mawson made it back. A 1,969 study blamed hypervitaminosis, a vitamin A poisoning from the husky livers, which we now know carry unusually high concentrations of it. It's still the most commonly cited explanation. But it's worth being honest here. Later researchers have argued the men were simply starving to death instead. Either way, the warning held. Predator liver is not food, and people living closest to predators worked that out centuries before science had a name for why. Then there's what the meat is actually like. A cow spends its life grazing calmly. A predator spends its life sprinting, stalking, and fighting for every single meal. That constant stress floods the muscle with hormones and burns off the glycogen that makes meat tender. The result is tougher, gamier, stronger smelling meat. Hunters who've eaten mountain lion or wolf almost always describe it the same way. Something you could survive on, never something you'd choose. And underneath the taste sits the disease. Predators eat the sick, the old, and the weak, which means they inherit every parasite those animals were carrying. Trichinosis, a parasitic worm infection, comes overwhelmingly from meat-eating animals: bear, wild boar, walrus, wildcat, fox, wolf, seal. Between 2016 and 2022, 7 outbreaks were reported in the United States, and bear meat was the source in most of them. Here's the detail that should make you pause. Some Arctic strains are freeze-resistant. In one case, live larvae were still moving in bear meat that had been frozen for 110 days. Cooking to 165 degrees Fahrenheit is the only thing that reliably kills them. And infection rates run even higher in strict carnivores, like cougars and wolverines. Now, history isn't perfectly clean here. Bear has been eaten in Scandinavia and North America for centuries, almost always in small amounts, almost always cooked until it's sterile. Lion has appeared in parts of Africa during severe famine, when every safer option had already run out. In nearly every documented case, predator meat only showed up once everything else was gone. That's not a counterexample, that's confirmation. And the one modern attempt to farm a predator at scale? South Africa's captive lion industry built around cub petting, canned hunting, and exporting bones to traditional medicine markets in Asia. Notice what's missing from that list. Nobody was selling lion steak. Even that is now collapsing. South Africa set its lion bone export quota to 0 for 2025. In March 2026, all 9 provinces backed a ban on new captive lion facilities. And then culture caught up with biology and wrote the rule down. The book of Leviticus explicitly forbids eating birds of prey, naming eagles, vultures, and hawks directly. Islamic dietary law draws a nearly identical line, prohibiting animals that hunt with fangs or talons. Ancient Israel and the Arabian Peninsula, different centuries, different peoples, same boundary. Eat the grazer, spare the hunter. Some anthropologists think this was never only about safety. Predators were feared. Predators were respected. In many places, predators were worshipped. You don't eat the animal your civilization built a religion around. You don't eat the creature carved onto your king's throne or painted on your temple wall. Across dozens of unrelated cultures, the lion, the eagle, and the wolf kept becoming symbols of power instead of dinner. It's hard to serve a meal out of a god. So the real answer was never one thing. It's expensive energy stacked on top of accumulated poison, stacked on top of worse taste, stacked on top of higher disease risk, stacked on top of thousands of years of turning apex predators into symbols instead of meals. Every ecosystem on Earth runs on the same quiet arithmetic. Energy climbs upward and less of it survives each step. Humans didn't invent the rule that predators stay off the plate. Every culture on Earth simply noticed it again and again and built their dinner tables around it. The wolf was never on the menu. The math decided that a very long time ago,